and a very warm welcome back to our channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about storing your breast milk. So we're going to be talking about the hints and tips, how to store it, how to freeze it, and then how to defrost it, because we want to make sure that you're giving your milk back to your baby safely. For those of you we have not met yet, hello, my name is Maria and I'm the owner and founder of the New Mommy Company, and I've been in the baby industry for 20 years. I work as a lactation educator, postpartum doula, sleep consultant and newborn care specialist. So I'm very happy to be here to share some of my knowledge and expertise with you. So let's dive in. So if you've already pumped your milk and you've got it sitting in the pumping bottles that you used, you're now going to need some storage bags. So there's lots of different milk storage bags on the market, up to you which brand you will choose, and obviously how many you're going to purchase. If you're pumping regularly to create that big freezer stash, then you're probably going to need one of the bigger boxes. This contains 100 bags. If you're pumping quite regularly, then this is a smaller one. This is a box of 25, and then obviously there's other brands do different sizes, so these actually hold 20 bags. So depending on how often and how frequently you're freezing your milk will dictate what size of a carton that you need to purchase, and obviously you can continue to purchase as you need them. This is what a freezer bag looks like, and this one holds anything up to 150 mils or 5 ounces. But I would highly suggest that you do not overfill, and that's for 2 reasons. The first reason being that when you put your milk in here and you put it in the freezer, the milk's going to expand. We don't want the freezer bag to burst. And the second reason is, as you're coming to defrost your milk, if you're defrosting big bags of milk every time and your baby doesn't necessarily need all of that milk, you could potentially be throwing out good milk. So I would highly suggest freezing in smaller quantities and having a little bit more of them, because you can always defrost 2 bags if need be. These are the bottles that you will have pumped your milk into, or something very similar. And from here, you're going to pour your milk directly into the freezer bag. But before you do, you're going to take a reading from the bottle. The bottle is going to give you a much more accurate reading of how much milk is contained within, rather than pouring it into the freezer bag, because once you pour it into the freezer bag, the two are not necessarily going to correlate, and then it can be confusing. So always go off the volume that is reading on the bottle. And then this is where this really helpful little guy is going to come in, a Sharpie. Make sure you have a Sharpie around at all times. And the reason we're going to use a Sharpie is because it cannot get smudged off and it won't puncture the bag. Nothing worse than trying to write the information and puncturing it. So on the top of the bag here, you can see that it's asking for your name, the date, and the amount. You probably won't need to put your name on there unless you're sharing a freezer with somebody. But the date that you're pumping is most likely going to be the date that you're putting the milk in the fridge. We would always suggest, if you're not going to use your milk and you know you're not going to use it, put it in the freezer pretty quickly. And the amount. So the amount is going to be whatever reads from the bottle, and the volume will go in here, but write on the bag first so that you're not trying to write on full bag. So always make sure you have a Sharpie. That's a really great tip to have. And then when you put the milk in here, it's ready to go straight into the freezer. So here we have everything that we need to store your breast milk in the freezer. I have the bottle of freshly expressed breast milk. I have a breast shield, more on that in a moment. My Sharpie, because I have just written the date and the amount on the freezer bag that I'm going to place the milk into. So with clean washed hands, pull open the top of the freezer bag so that the Ziploc comes apart, and then you will see that you have your open bag. Now, for those of you who are nervous about spilling your breast milk, you have every reason to be nervous. It is liquid gold after all. Take the top of the breast shield and use it as a funnel. Makes it a lot easier to pour the milk in. It means you don't spill anything. Less wipe ups if you do, but most importantly, we very often have enough milk that we can actually afford to spill it. So when your milk has been in a bottle for a little while, it can adhere to the sides and it can also start to settle. It's not unusual for it to be different colors, and so the cream will rise to the top and then it can look more watery underneath. So we want to make sure that we're getting everything out of the bottle. So with a sealed cap, give it a good shake and then pour it into the freezer bag. So I've measured the milk before I shook it and written on the side of the freezer bag to indicate that there's 2.5 ounces in the bottle. And now I'm simply going to pour the milk in. And yes, breast milk does get quite frothy. So there it is. In it goes. And now I need to make sure that I am sealing this correctly, but I also want to remove as much air as possible. So I'm going to press the bag together just over the milk and push out all of the air, and then push the Ziploc together so that it is sealed. And then make sure that there isn't a lot of air. And now my bag is ready to go into the freezer. We would always suggest laying your milk flat, because then it is easier to store it and it is more economical in terms of space. Whereas if you put it in like this, it will bulk out this direction and it will take up a lot more space. So that's it. I'm going to pop this into the freezer and then we're going to come back once it's frozen, and then I can show you how to defrost the milk safely and securely for your baby. So here is my frozen milk right out of the freezer. As you'll see, I have frozen it flat, which means it is far more economical in terms of space taken up in your freezer. So I've just taken this out of the freezer. I'm now going to take it over to the sink and I'm going to pour some cold water over the milk to defrost it. You might be wondering why I'm pouring cold water over something frozen if I'm trying to defrost it. Well, that's the safest and fastest way to get it from a frozen state to a liquid state. Once it's in a liquid state, then we're going to warm it. So I'm going to put it under a cold running tap. It will just take a few moments and it will be liquid. So I'll show you as we go along. So I'm just going to turn the tap on so that it's a cold water that's going to flow over it, and it's going to take it from its frozen state to its liquid state. So now I have my cold milk that was frozen and is now defrosted, and I can warm it in the plastic freezer bag if I want to, but I'm actually going to take it and put it back into the bottle because that's how the baby's going to get the milk. So here I have the bottle, and I'm going to bring back the breast shield or the breast flange and use that again as my funnel to make sure that I'm not spilling any of the milk. So I can give the milk a little shake just to make sure that it's well mixed, and then just open the seal within the Ziploc inside and then pour directly in using the breast shield as the funnel to make sure that we don't spill any. And then once all of the milk is well emptied out, we want to get every last little drop because it's so precious. Then we can put that to the side, put the breast shield into the sink for washing, and put the screw cap on. So now the milk is ready to be warmed. I can put it into the bowl. I have previously boiled the kettle, so it's been boiled for about 20 minutes or so, so it's about 70 degrees, so it's safe temperature to be able to warm the milk for the baby. It won't take long. As you can see, it's only a couple of ounces of milk, so I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to take the water and just pour it up enough just to cover the milk. So by warming your milk in warm stroke hot water but not boiling water, it's a very safe way to warm your milk for your baby. It's not recommended to use a microwave because a microwave can cause hot spots, and hot spots within your milk can actually scald your baby. In that it feels warm to the touch, it does not feel hot, but the actual hot spots are contained within the milk, and when your baby drinks that milk, it can scald them. So this is a much safer way to bring it up to the temperature that you want to reach it to. So by just having it placed in this warm water, I can give it a proper shake, and then I can test it off the back of my arm, And if it's not quite there yet, I can put it back into the warm water. And I just keep testing it until I bring it to the temperature that I feel is appropriate. Once I feel like it's at the right temperature, then I am going to put the teat or the nipple on the top of the bottle, and again I'm going to pour it on the back of my arm, and that is the safest and truest test that you can do to make sure that the temperature for the baby is safe and appropriate. Not too warm, not too cold.